Welcome to the Rich TV Live podcast, Stocks and Stacks, episode number 23. And it's another great day today in paradise. So hopefully you're having a great day. I'm having a great day. I hope you're having a great day. Now we are streaming everywhere and it is a Wednesday. It's a hump day, but it's a great day because Bitcoin is in a bull market. That's right. Bitcoin is in a bull market. I'm going to show you why. We're also in earnings seasons in the stock market, so great time for stocks as well. I'll show you why. And I'm just in a good mood because there's a lot of sports going on. There's NBA season started last night. Great games last night to start the season. We're in the NHL season now. NFL season is going on. You know, I got my Dallas Cowboys helmet over there, signed Michael Irving helmet, and baseball. We're now in the World Series with baseball. So congratulations to Texas and Arizona for making it to the World Series, which starts on Friday. And you're going to hear about all of this plus more exclusively on the Rich TV Live podcast. We believe we've got the highest capacity on the planet to talk about stocks, crypto, news, and sports. And that's what we're going to do here on this podcast every single day, bringing you the biggest breaking news of the day in the world of stocks, crypto, news, and sports. Now, one of the bad things that is happening, obviously, unless you're living under a rock, is there's war happening, raging all over the world. It's brutal. It's actually brutal. So that is one of the negative things that's happening. Obviously, unless you've been living under a rock, you're aware of the fact that there is a war in Ukraine. Russia is in the Ukraine right now, and they've been raging in war for well over a year. And that's a really sad situation. And it doesn't look like it's ending anytime soon. And in addition to that, there's now a war in the Middle East. And there's a war between Israel and Palestinians. Some are calling it the war between Israel and the Hamas, which is a group that is the number one political party in Palestine and in the Gaza. And it's just a raging war that's getting out of control. Thousands have died. I believe the number is 5,700 Palestinians so far, 1,400 Israelis, but the number continues to grow every single day. And then there's casualties from other countries as well, like America. I believe there's 32 Americans that have died, at least 5 or 6 Canadians, and some casualties in other places all over the world as well. So very, very sad situation happening all over the world. And I blame our leadership for this. I blame our leadership. I think the leadership right now, really in Canada and the United States is terrible. I believe that the leadership all over the world is pretty bad because why are we allowing this to happen? Why are we allowing these wars to rage? Why are we allowing our borders to just be open like Swiss cheese where potential, I don't want to use the wrong word, but bad actors could be walking right into our countries and putting us at risk? It's a sad situation. There's a lot of bad things happening, but there are some good things happening too. So we have to figure out a balance in this world, in this crazy world that we live in. And that's what we try to do here on the Rich TV Live podcast. We try to bring you the biggest breaking news every single day. Sometimes it's going to be good. Sometimes it's going to be bad. But I can guarantee you that we'll be here every single day, every step of the way to kind of talk to you about what's going on and hopefully be a place where you can come to when you're looking for news, looking for information, looking for the hottest stocks of the day, looking for the hottest Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies of the day, looking for the biggest breaking news of the day, looking for trending sports. You can count on Rich TV Live to be a place to go to every single day where we will be here bringing you that news every single day. Okay? So I am really, really happy about what's happening with Bitcoin. Obviously, I'm a Bitcoin holder. I've been talking about that for quite some time. I've got this big Bitcoin on my desk, and I've been talking about Bitcoin for years. And I've been one of the biggest advocates of Bitcoin, even when everyone was talking about Bitcoin going down and what's going on with Bitcoin and what's wrong with Bitcoin. I've been here every step of the way telling you, buy up the Bitcoin on the dip because this wasn't going to last. talking about the fact that Bitcoin is the single greatest investment of our lifetimes, the single greatest investment of this generation. And if you're not in Bitcoin, you're not really giving yourself a chance in this world to benefit from the greatest single investment of our lifetimes. And I think it's a mistake. I think it's a mistake not to be into Bitcoin. I think it's a mistake not to be investing in an asset that's gone from, in 14 years, let's say $1 to where it stands today, just under 35,000 US. Do the math. Bitcoin has been the single greatest investment of our lifetimes, and you'd be, in my opinion, missing out large if you weren't investing in Bitcoin. Now, in addition to Bitcoin, I also invest heavily in the stock market. I invest in real estate. I invest in gold. I invest in oil, typically through stocks. And we talk about that here on the Rich TV Live podcast as well. So every day I'm going to be giving you guys all the biggest breaking news of the day in the world of investing, in the world of finance. And I'm a big fan of stocks. I'm a big fan of cryptos. I'm a big fan of dividend stocks. I'm a big fan of real estate. I'm a big fan of oil and gas and gold stocks as well. And I'm a big fan of diversifying your portfolio because I believe that in a market right now that we're in that is extremely volatile, that in order to have success, you need to be diversified. If you do not diversify, I don't believe you're giving yourself the best chance to have success. But if you diversify, I believe you give yourself a great chance of having success. All right, so we're just sharing this all over the world. Give me 1 second here, and I'm going to pull up the charts. All right. Okay, so we're also in the middle of earnings season, which means that all the top companies in the world are reporting their earnings. They're sharing how much money they're making or losing with the world. And this is a very important time for investors because earnings season is when you can either make it or break it. So let's take a look at what's going on in the market right now. And let's take a look at Bitcoin, which is doing extremely well. All right, we're going to start off with Bitcoin. So if you've been watching the Rich TV Live podcast all year, I've been talking about Bitcoin, and you can see I have it charted. So Bitcoin started the year at 16,000. We're now sitting at 34,500. So clearly Bitcoin has done well. It's more than doubled this year. Nothing wrong with doubling your money, right? So Bitcoin's doubled this year. If you've been in Bitcoin, you've doubled your money. Congratulations to anyone that's invested in Bitcoin. You should give yourselves a pat on the back, give yourself a little bow, and I'm really proud of you. I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you, but I honestly think it's going to go higher. There's a lot of catalysts coming that are massive, massive, massive. Mark White says it's also the cultures. Yes, I agree with you, but at the end of the day, in times of war and crisis, we need to figure out a path to peace. And my message to everyone is let's put down the weapons and let's find a path to peace, because killing each other isn't going to solve anything. And what it does is it makes corporations money. It allows these politicians to gain votes, make money, gain power. But at the end of the day, it's the people that are suffering. So I think we as people need to be smarter, and we need to fight back against these regimes who are only using us for their own personal benefit. And you got to do the math. There's like, what, close to 8 billion people on the earth? They don't care if we lose a couple thousand. It's simple math. To them, it means nothing because they're not losing their children. They're not losing their friends. They're not losing their family. The politicians that are forcing everyone to go to war right now, they're not losing anything. If anything, they're making money, and that's why they're in these wars. Let's be honest. So there's a lot of money that's made in defense, building planes, ships, tanks, guns, weapons. And you have to understand that when you spend billions and trillions of dollars on defense, you have to test your weapons. So going to war is almost like a simulation for a lot of these politicians. They're in another country in a lot of cases, sending their weapons to get tested in other parts of the world. So I don't agree with it, and I'll never agree with it. So But in times of war, the markets typically do well. And look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin has done extremely well. I've been marking it. You can see it on my chart right now. Bitcoin has more than doubled this year. We're in October. The year's not done. We're in the 10th month of the year. And Bitcoin has more than doubled this year. If you've been watching the Rich TV Live podcast, full disclosure, I own Bitcoin. I own Ethereum. I own other cryptos as well. I own Bitcoin miners. I own Bitcoin ETFs. I have a lot of exposure to Bitcoin, and I've done extremely well this year because of the fact that when Bitcoin was down, I knew that was the time to buy. That was the time to load up. That was the time to position myself. So last year, I took the entire year and I made sure that I got as much Bitcoin as I could get, as much Ethereum as I could get. This year, I've just been sitting back and watching it grow. Now, what indicators, what catalysts do we have for Bitcoin? I've talked about this in length. I'm going to continue to talk about it. We've got the Bitcoin halving coming in March of next year. That's right around the corner now. We're 5 months away. I mean, we're right there. We're 5 months away, 150 days, Bitcoin halving happens, and that's typically a massive catalyst that sends Bitcoin higher. So a lot of this buying is anticipation of the Bitcoin halving. What other catalysts are driving Bitcoin higher? Bitcoin spot ETFs being approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission in America. BlackRock has a Bitcoin spot ETF. Grayscale has a Bitcoin spot ETF. ARK has a Bitcoin spot ETF. They're all looking to get approval. And when they do, they're going to be massive catalysts for Bitcoin because that's going to give the investing public billions of dollars and potentially trillions of dollars the ability to flow into Bitcoin very easily without having to hold your Bitcoin on a hard wallet, without having to hold your Bitcoin on a ledger, without having to hold your Bitcoin on a crypto exchange. That's big. That's huge. And that's why I believe that these catalysts are real. That's why I believe that these catalysts are happening. And that's why I believe we see Bitcoin today at 34,600, despite the fact that we saw it at 15,000 last year was a great buying opportunity, which I told everyone to buy. 16,000 to start this year, and we're sitting right now at $34,000. So Bitcoin is officially up over 100%. In fact, let's take a look at how much it's up. This is the ruler. Okay, so Bitcoin is currently up 110% on the year. Not bad, eh? So Bitcoin is currently up about, when we get to 35,000, we'll be up 113%. So we're just under 35,000. We did just hit 35,000 just about half an hour ago. But we're not there right now. We're at 34,600. So I'll have to say that at that price, we're up, let's just say about 110%. Say we're up 110%. 110% this year on Bitcoin. I mean, what's wrong with that, right? Is there anything wrong with making 110% on your money? Absolutely not. And you could have made 110% on your money simply by buying Bitcoin this year. So like I said, full disclosure, I'm not telling you to go and buy Bitcoin. That's not why I'm doing this. I'm telling you to do your own due diligence, your own research, and invest in Bitcoin because you understand it, you believe in it, you like it, and you want to be a part of it. That's why you should own Bitcoin. Don't own Bitcoin because I told you to. Because I own Bitcoin. Obviously, I have a conflict of interest. I own it. I also own Ethereum. So clearly, I have a conflict of interest. I own it. I'm not telling you to buy it so it takes the price up. I really don't care what you do. But I want you to buy it for yourself so you can benefit from these moves in the market. Because 110% is 110%. And doubling your money is doubling your money. And you could have doubled your money in 10 months this year simply by buying Bitcoin. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to show you some Bitcoin investments you can make that will make you money by buying a stock as opposed to actually holding physical Bitcoin. Okay, and we're going to talk about that right here exclusively right now on the Rich TV Live podcast. So some of those stocks that you could have bought that would have done really well for you this year, GBTC. Here's Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. They're also applying for a Bitcoin spot ETF. They're up 2% today, but they are up well over 100% this year. So let's just see where they started this year. So in January of this year, they're at $9. They're sitting at $26. So had you bought Grayscale spot ETF this year, you would be up right now 192%. You would have made 192% by buying GBTC. George, Bob, Tom, Charlie. GBTC, one of the top Bitcoin stocks you can own. These guys have close to 700,000 Bitcoin that they own. Massive, 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 massive. So they are literally one of the largest holders of Bitcoin in the world. GBTC is. So if you want to own Bitcoin, I think GBTC is a great way to do it if you want to buy a stock. And clearly, have you been buying GBTC this year, you'd be up very, very big because they're doing extremely well. All right, so GBTC, Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, and I've been marking it all year. You can see it's been climbing all year. I've been talking it about all year, and it's just been going higher. So congratulations to investors that have taken advantage of this investment. Now, another one that I think people can really benefit from is Mara. Mara is one of the largest Bitcoin miners in America. Very, very risky, very, very volatile. You can see it goes up and down, but it's one of those Bitcoin miners that when Bitcoin does well, typically Mara also follows. Mara had a big day yesterday. It's going down a little bit today, but I think it's one of those Bitcoin mining stocks that you can ride in times of momentum. So definitely, in my opinion, put Mara on your watch list and put it on your radar. All right, another one that is a Bitcoin miner that I think everyone should be aware of is RIOT. RIOT had a big move this year, came back down, starting to move back up, had a nice day yesterday. RIOT and Mara are two of the biggest Bitcoin miners in America. So put RIOT, RIOT, Mara, MARA on your radar and on your watch list, because if Bitcoin continues to go higher, I expect RIOT and Mara will also follow Bitcoin. All right, another major player in Bitcoin is MicroStrategies. I don't know if you've heard of Michael Saylor, but Michael Saylor is one of the CEOs. He is the CEO that is leading the charge for MicroStrategies. And MicroStrategies, as you can see this year, has also done well. We can chart it, and you can see that MicroStrategies has clearly gone up this year. And we'll take a look at how much. All right, in January, it was at $160. Today, it sits at $435. So MicroStrategies is up 165% this year. The symbol is MSTR. I don't know if you heard, but Peter Schiff had a debate with Michael Saylor about what is a better asset, gold or Bitcoin. And MicroStrategies CEO Michael Saylor's debated gold bug, gold lover Peter Schiff. And clearly, MicroStrategies has come out on top, laughing all the way to the bank, because Bitcoin has performed much better than gold over the last 14 years. It's not even close. And I believe that the price of Bitcoin is going to skyrocket from here over the next 2 years. And I believe we're going to see an all-time high in Bitcoin in November of 2025. So I believe we have 25 months to really watch Bitcoin explode. And I believe that there's going to be highs that are going to be astronomical between now and November of 2025. I believe we're going to break all-time highs maybe next year. The all-time high is 69,000 for Bitcoin. I believe we're going to see 100,000 for Bitcoin. And I believe we'll see at least 100,000 for Bitcoin in November of 2025. But many believe that we're going to see it sooner. Many believe we'll see over 100,000 next year. Some believe it'll go to over 200,000. BlackRock and JP Morgan both believe that in this next bull market in the next 2 years, that we'll see Bitcoin go to 200,000 US for one Bitcoin. That would make me very happy, as I'm an investor in Bitcoin, obviously. So that would make me really, really happy to see Bitcoin go to those levels. Now, can we guarantee it? Of course not. There's nothing we can do to guarantee it. I don't sit there and hold Bitcoin up. So I can't guarantee that we're going to see Bitcoin go to those levels. But what I can guarantee you is I'll be here every step of the way to show you guys what's going on, to mark the charts, tell you what's going on, give you my opinion, and break the news. Yes, Mark, those are correct. GBTC, RIOT, Mara, MSTR. So another Bitcoin miner that's a smaller miner but has potential is BTBT. Bit Digital, BTBT. I think it's another one that you need to put on your radar and put on your watch list. I've already sold this year on this last pump. It's done well, and I decided to take my profits. It's come back down and now starting to make a move. So I think it's another one that you need to put on your radar and put on your watch list, BTBT. All right, BTBT. All right, another one that I think that everyone should be aware of is HUT. HUT 8 Mining Corp is another Bitcoin miner that I think has a lot of potential that could explode if the price of Bitcoin continues to go higher. HUT, H-U-T, put on your radar, put on your watch list. All right, so those are my Bitcoin investments that I think everyone should be aware of, that everyone should put on their radar, and everyone should put on their watch list. Now, in addition to that, we're in a earnings season that is very, very important because this is where all the big stocks are going to be reporting. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about their results. But first, I want to talk about some of the stocks that are moving today. So the biggest stock of the day right now is ASPA. ASPA is up 133%, currently at $29. ASPA, put on your radar, put on your watch list, the biggest mover of the day. ASPA. Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate you, brother. ASPA, I don't know exactly why. It says Abri SPAC, so it's a SPAC stock is skyrocketing on Wednesday. What's going on? So it's a SPAC, probably a new issuer. I'm not going to chase a stock up 133%. That's not what I do. But I think it's important that you put it on your radar, put it on your watch list, be aware of it. That's what I do. Is I look at all the stocks every day. If it's new to me, I add it to my watch list and I watch it. I look for trends. I read the news. I look at the financials. I get to know the company. I get to know the patterns before I buy a stock. I like to know the patterns. I never rush to buy things. I don't think that's a good way to invest, and it typically doesn't end well. So what I like to do is I like to watch stocks. I like to understand their patterns. I like to see the progress of the company, get to know their financials, get to know the management team, get to know their product, understand their news, and then I try to get in when they're down. If I really like a company, I try to buy it when it's down, and I try to sell it when it's up. Really, really simple investing strategy, but it works for me. Same thing with Bitcoin. When Bitcoin was down last year, that's when I was buying it. Same thing with Ethereum. When Ethereum was down last year, that's when I was buying it. And that's my investing strategy. Buy low, sell high. It worked for It's worked for Warren Buffett, who is, in my opinion, the greatest investor of our generation. And I believe it'll work for you. If it worked for Warren Buffett, I believe it'll work for you and it'll work for me. And I've seen a lot of people try to day trade their way to millions and make money overnight. And I've seen a lot of people lose like that. Some people win like that, maybe 5%, but 95% lose like that. So I've taken more of a disciplined, basic approach to investing of invest in good quality companies, get to know the companies, buy them when they're down, sell them when they're up, take 85% of my portfolio, invest in the biggest assets in the world, invest in dividends, and then take 15% of my portfolio, invest in penny stocks, trending stocks, meme stocks, hot stocks. So penny stocks and small cap cryptos. So I do like risk. I enjoy risk. I like taking chances, but not with all my money. I think that that's insane. And I think anyone that does that is very, very risky. And I don't want to teach you how to invest like that. It's not how I invest, and it's not how I think you should invest. I think it's important to take a smart approach to investing. I think it's important to protect your money, protect your equity at all costs, and do everything you can to protect your equity first and then grow it second. And if you think about that and think about protecting your equity first and growing it second, you'll have a lot of success. But I think if you're always thinking about growing your equity and you put your equity at risk, there's a very good chance that you could lose your equity. And I've seen it happen to many investors over the years. It has never happened to me, and I will never let that happen because I have a very diversified portfolio and I'm investing in the top assets in the world. And when you invest in the top one or two assets in every industry, I think you give yourself a very good chance to have success. But if you're investing in very, very risky assets, then you give yourself some chance for success if you get lucky. But if something goes wrong, you can really get hurt. And I'm not the type of investor that wants to get hurt. I want to win. I want to win all the time. I'm obviously going to have some bad days along the way. But with this investing strategy that I've developed, you will have short-term, midterm, and long-term success, which is what I've done this year. I've had a lot of success investing in a year where a lot of investors haven't done well. And I think it's because of what happened last year, because I learned a lot last year when pretty much everything went down. All the big stocks went down, all the small cap stocks went down, all the cryptos went down last year. And I learned a lot because I did get hurt last year because I was investing in a lot of risky investments. And last year was a huge eye-opener for me because it made me realize that I needed to invest in bigger and better assets, bigger and better companies. So that's why I started investing last year into Apple. I invested into Bitcoin, Ethereum, heavily as my top two cryptos. I invested into Amazon, Google. I invested into Tesla. I invested into Shop. So I also invested into some other companies that were smaller companies, but those are the bigger companies and the bigger names that I invested into, and I've had a lot of success. All of them have gone up this year. I've already sold all those stocks and made money, and now I'm waiting for them to drop, and consequently, they're starting to drop. And I'm going to show you that because what goes up will come down, and as an investor, when they're up, that's the time to sell. When they're down, that's the time to buy. And I'm always looking to buy when they're down and sell when they're up. And that's really just my investing strategy. But like I said, the mistake I made was in 2021 when everything was going up. I thought that it was okay to just invest in risky stocks and risky cryptos. And I lost in a lot of those investments. So what happened in 2022 when they were all going down is I started taking losses. But what I did is I took those losses and then I reinvested in a lot of those winners that I've now sold this year, and I've made back a lot of those mistakes. A lot of those losses I've gained back and made money on and turned them into gains because I saw what was going on. I saw the writing on the wall, and I realized that I had to make a change in the way I was investing because it wasn't going to work. And I'm really happy that I did because my strategies worked. And I'm never going to change my strategy moving forward because the attitude of, oh, it's going to last forever, this penny stock's going to go up forever, it just doesn't make any sense. So I'll never believe in that strategy again because sometimes when the market goes up and everything's going up, you get this belief that it's going to go up forever and it's going to last forever. And the reality is that's not the case. That's not the case. There are market makers who make markets and there are shorters who short stocks, and they look for stocks to short that have gone up a lot. So I've learned a lot about that, and I've learned to stay away from those types of stocks because you can get really badly hurt. All right, I'm just sharing some details on social media. We are streaming on multiple devices. We really appreciate it if you follow us everywhere, subscribe. We are literally on all platforms streaming right now. And then afterwards, where we don't stream, we will share this video on all the other platforms where we're not streaming. So please feel free to subscribe to us. If you like these videos, like it. And if you have any comments, please comment on the video as well. So here's another stock that's having a big day today, JGGC, currently up 80%, now 74%. So you can see that this was higher, dropped, and now made a massive move. So not something that I'm going to go and buy just because it's up 80% today, but definitely one to put on your radar, put on your watch list. They're having a really nice day. JGGC. JGGC. And currently up 78%. JGGC. JGGC. All right. Now, what else is making a move? NVVE is up 57%. Now, one of the things I noticed this year in a lot of these charts is when you look at a lot of stocks, they've been up much higher. Like I've told you guys, in 2021, a lot of stocks went up, and they went up and they didn't make a lot of sense. And then what happened in 2022 is they crashed. They all kind of look like this. They all have this chart. Most of the small caps have this chart. And what happens is when they go down too much and they get shorted too heavily, they typically do a dead cat bounce where they'll bounce back. And that's kind of what's happening to a lot of these stocks. But what I've noticed is they do these dead cat bounce for one day, and then the next day they go down. So it's not a very good market that I believe in. It's not a market that I trust where I can buy one of these stocks and hold it. So the only way to really make money in this market buying these stocks is to buy it intraday, meaning you buy it today, let it run, sell it when it's up, and then a lot of times they'll go back down a little bit. Sometimes they go higher, but then the next day, and you can test this yourself, typically the next day you will notice they go down. They go down. So very, very risky to buy and hold these stocks, in my opinion. So the next one is, so that one was NVVE. Okay, NVVE. All right, and the next one is RSLS. Look at this. Similar type of chart. Notice this, similar type of chart, been much higher and comes down. Gets crushed from $20 to 25 cents. So do you want to buy something that was at $25 and now is at 25 cents just because it's having one good day? I mean, it might continue, but for the most part, what I've seen with a lot of these stocks is they go up and then they come right back down. So please be very, very careful and be very, very cautious. RSLS. RSLS. All right. So the next one that is having a big day is BTAI. BioXcel Therapeutics. BTAI. You could see made a huge move here pre-market and then has been consolidating sideways for the rest of the day. So another one that I think you need to be very cautious of. You could see I've been marking these stocks and they're like so volatile. So this is another one that was at $30, went down to $2, from $30 to $2. Like super, super risky, obviously. They had some news today, so that's why they're popping. But very difficult to trust this when you see it was at $30 and now it's at $2. Now, I'm not saying it can't go back to 30. That'd be a great trade. But will it go to 30? Who knows, right? So you're taking a big risk. It's a big chance. There's no guarantee that it will. And then if it doesn't and you end up buying this and it goes back down, you could get stuck holding the bag. So I think you need to be very, very careful and proceed with caution with BTAI. Chart does look good, and if it does go back, it could be a big winner. But I mean, look how many of these stocks have been crushed, and why would this one be that big winner? I mean, I've been watching these stocks all year, and some of them do go back up, but 99% of them don't. That's just the way it's been. So we're in this tough market environment where some companies have done well, but most have struggled. And that's the reality. A lot of investors are not going to tell you that. A lot of stock gurus are not going to tell you that. A lot of people won't tell you that, but I'm here to tell you the truth. And the truth is that small caps have struggled this year as they did last year. And there isn't a lot of money going into a lot of these picks because a lot of the money is going into what they call the top 7 stocks. NVIDIA, Amazon, Google, Apple, Tesla. These are the types of companies that Microsoft, Meta, these are the types of companies that have done well. So, you know, the money, the real money has gone into those stocks. And the smaller stocks, pretty much everybody else, they've been forgotten. So that's why a lot of them have gone down a lot. And then they'll do like a dead cat bounce for a day on news. And then they typically just get shorted right back down the very next day. So you need to be very, very careful. Here's TTNP. having a nice day, up 16%. But like I said, I don't really trust it. Here's DKDCA, up 24% on the day. Let's take a look at the 1-year chart. Been up and down. So another one that I think, put on your radar and put on your watch list, up 24% on the day. Here's PRZOO, another one up 17% on the day. Put on your radar, put on your watch list. So lots of different stocks doing different things, but do I really trust it? I don't know. I'm not going to buy any of these stocks. I'm telling you right now. And that's the thing, is I'm not going to just go and buy a stock just because it's up. Like that. I think that that's insane trading. And I know there's people that do it, but I'm not that guy. I'm not going to do it. Here's HUBC. They're up 14% on the day. Another one that's been very volatile, up and down a lot. So definitely one to put on your radar and put on your watches. You could see that they have made a big move from 20 cents to 71 right now. So they are gaining steam, and they're a cybersecurity stock. And right now in the world of hacking, I think cybersecurity is really big. So I think HUBC actually does look pretty good compared to a lot of other stocks. So definitely one I think you need to put on your radar and put on your watch list. All right. All right, just responding to some other members that are on other platforms. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to put it in the chats, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. All right, so those are the stocks that I wanted you to look at today that I think are, the biggest movers and shakers of the day. Obviously, we looked at Bitcoin as well. And what we're going to do is I want to look at some of the companies that have been reporting strong earnings and talk about earnings season right now. First, though, I want to look at Ethereum. Let's take a look at Ethereum. So Ethereum is another one of the assets that I own. It's my number 2 crypto that I own behind Bitcoin. So my portfolio for crypto, just so you know, is like 75% Bitcoin, 25% Ethereum, which takes me to like 100%. So like, let's say 24% Ethereum and then 1% everything else. That's how much Bitcoin and Ethereum I have. But mostly Bitcoin, 75%. Ethereum is like 24%. So you could see Ethereum has actually gone from, I think it was at 900, but let's just say 1,000 to 1,790. So Ethereum is up, let's say 79% this year, done extremely well. Congratulations to investors on Ethereum as well. We've been talking about Ethereum all year as well. So very, very big fan of Ethereum. I'm an owner of Ethereum. I'm not telling you to go and buy Ethereum. It's not why I'm doing this. But if you want to own crypto, I think you need to start with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin has 21 million coins that will ever be mined. So it's got a really, really tight supply. It's one of the reasons why Bitcoin's price is so high and why I'm very bullish on Bitcoin, because there isn't enough Bitcoin for everyone in the world to even have one. So eventually, I believe if you have one Bitcoin, you'll be able to own your own digital bank. I think that's very, very important. And same thing with Ethereum. Ethereum only has 130 million in supply. They have a very tight supply compared to a lot of other crypto. So I like the tokenomics of Bitcoin and I like the tokenomics of Ethereum. And I think Ethereum is a very good quality coin in the sense that it's the blockchain that not all, but most other coins are creating their coins on. So Ethereum is essentially a blockchain where you can go and create a coin using the Ethereum blockchain, and then Ethereum benefits from that coin being essentially born on Ethereum, kind of like Ethereum is having babies. So a lot of the coins that exist in the cryptocurrency ecosystem were built on the Ethereum blockchain. So that's why I really like Ethereum. I like their use case. They are the second largest cryptocurrency in the world as far as market cap behind Bitcoin. And there's really nobody even close to either of them as far as market cap. Bitcoin is here by far the best and the biggest crypto in the world. And then Ethereum is second. And then there's a massive drop off. I would say Ripple is third. I think if you want to get a smaller crypto and you want to own a crypto that's really fast, that can be used by governments in the future, could be used as Swift code, which would be essentially the new world of wire transactions. It's also a very cheap coin to use for transactions. I believe that Ripple falls in that category. And I think that Ripple would be my third, which I also own as well, my third most interesting and most favored coin as far as I'm concerned, as far as crypto. So it's Bitcoin number one, Ethereum number two, Ripple number three. But I only own a little bit of Ripple. And the reason is there's about 500 billion Ripple out there, which I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of the 500 billion Ripple. It's too much when you consider Bitcoin has 21 million and Ethereum has 130 million and Ripple has 500 billion. It's just too diluted. And because of that, it creates too much selling pressure. There's too much downward pressure on Ripple. And it's also centralized, which I also don't like. I like the fact that Bitcoin is decentralized. It's not owned by a government. It's not owned by a company. Nobody knows who owns Bitcoin. The owner is, they say it's Satoshi Nakamoto, but at the end of the day, we don't really know who owns Bitcoin. They are anonymous and they don't control the price of Bitcoin, because even if they own a few million coins, they don't control all the other coins that are out there that are essentially owned by the public. And that's why I believe the price of Bitcoin can absolutely skyrocket. And that's why I own Bitcoin. And that's why I think you should consider owning Bitcoin too, because it is decentralized, which means the public owns it. And it has massive scaling potential due to the fact that there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin mined in the entire world. And if you have even one Bitcoin, I believe that one day you will be able to have your own digital bank, especially considering the fact that 95% of the world doesn't own Bitcoin. So if 95% of the world doesn't own Bitcoin and you do, and right now 5% of the world owns Bitcoin, if you have even one, there's been many people that have predicted that the price of Bitcoin by 2030 will be worth $1 million. At that point in time, you can take your Bitcoin and you can sell a little bit at a time and operate like a digital bank. Now, there's some people that believe going into 2035, 2040, that the price of Bitcoin could go as high as 5 or 10 million a coin. So obviously that would make me really happy as a holder of Bitcoin. And these are the reasons why I believe you should have some exposure to Bitcoin, and why I believe that the Bitcoin spot ETFs that are looking to get approval are a big deal, because of the fact that there's only 21 million, and that will give people the ability to own Bitcoin without actually owning physical Bitcoin. They can just vest into the spot ETFs, which will be more like a stock, and they won't have to worry about having their Bitcoin hacked, having their Bitcoin on an exchange, or putting it on a Ledger hard wallet, which could potentially get hacked. Coinbase is one of the largest exchanges in the world. They're also a good way to buy crypto if you want to own a stock. Coinbase is, I believe, the second largest exchange in the world behind Binance. Their symbol is coin. So that's another stock that I think you should have on your radar and have on your watch list. All right, so let's talk about earnings season. So Tesla just reported their earnings last week. They did not report great earnings. I still thought the earnings were pretty good, but they didn't report great earnings. That's why you see Tesla falling. But I really believe when Tesla falls, that's a buying opportunity. Tesla's been an amazing investment over the last few years. So, and I've personally bought Tesla, bought it last year when I was at around 100 and sold it this year, made money, and I'm waiting for it to get under 200. It's sitting at 213. If it goes below 200, I'll be looking to buy Tesla. Obviously, it goes back to 100, I'll be buyer for sure. But if it goes under 200, I'll definitely be a buyer of Tesla, and I'll show you why. Because when you look at this chart here, you could see that this level it's at right now, like this 213 level, it's been a pretty good buy zone when it goes below here. So if it gets below this 200 mark and gets to like 150 or even 100, I'll be buying Tesla for sure. But I don't want to buy it over 200 because it seems as though this is more of a sell zone. And if you can get it at 200 or less, seems like a decent buy zone. So I even want to mark this zone right here where if I can get it at 155 or lower, I think that that would be a pretty decent buy for Tesla. So I'm just waiting for it to drop further. I don't know if it will, but if it does, that's when I'll be a buyer. But I don't want to chase it and buy it too expensive. So I'm not going to just go and buy Tesla just to buy it. That's not my strategy. My strategy is to buy it when it's cheap. And if it doesn't go cheap, I'm just not going to buy it. Keep it simple, but that's just my strategy. All right, so let's take a look at some others that just reported. Netflix reported last week. They reported very, very strong, very bullish on Netflix, but I think the price is too high. So I'm not really interested in buying at these prices. But if it does dip, I'll definitely consider maybe buying Netflix. But I'd have to see it get at least under this 350 mark. I'm not interested in buying Netflix at $400. Coca-Cola just reported very strong. They're doing very well. I like Coca-Cola. I think it's a good quality company. You can see the one-year chart. They've been higher. They've come down, and now they're starting to go up. So very bullish on Coca-Cola. I think that they've got a great future. Obviously, they're a great company that everybody knows of, and I think that the upside for them is massive. Microsoft just reported they're looking extremely bullish. This is their one-year chart. You can see they're clearly climbing. They also have a focus on artificial intelligence, which I'm very bullish on. You could see Microsoft having a very, very good, strong bullish chart, and they just reported, and they reported strong. So that's very, very good news for Microsoft. But being the type of investor that doesn't want to buy at the top, I'm not really interested in buying Microsoft at $339, so I'm going to stay away. But love the company, and I think it's one of those companies that you should definitely consider buying if you can, because they're a quality company. I just don't want to buy it at this price. It's too high for me to want to buy it. All right, let's take a look at some others that are reporting. Google, they just reported yesterday. Alphabet Inc. And who else is reporting? DraftKings just reported. Spotify just reported. And 3M just reported. Okay, so Google reported. I actually thought the report was pretty good. You could see Google has been going up. Google is one of the companies I told everyone to buy. I bought it last year when it was down, and it's gone up. You could see I charted it. I bought it at $80. It went to 140-ish, 130, 140 this year. So it's been a good trade for me, and I'm waiting for it to go back down. And they reported, and I thought the report was pretty good, but it's dropping. So to me, this is a buying opportunity. Do I want to buy Google at 126? Probably not. Not to say it won't go higher from here. It could, but I'd like to buy Google cheaper, considering I bought it at like $80 last year. I'd love to get it under 100. So if it gets to like 100 or lower, that would be my goal, to buy Google at about 100 lower. I don't know if it's going to go there, but that's where I'd like to buy it, because I actually thought that they had a pretty reasonable report. DraftKings has been going up. They also had a pretty good report. They went up yesterday. They are going back down today, but you could see DraftKings has done extremely well here over the last year. You could see DraftKings was at $10, and they've gone as high as over 30, which would put them up over 200% for the year. And they're right now trading at about 150% up for the year. So been a great trade, DraftKings, this year. Done extremely well. People are obviously betting a lot on sports. So I think it's a good quality company. And if you can get it, try to buy it on dips. Spotify also had a very strong report. You could see Spotify also has been trending up. Very, very bullish. Let's see here. So in January, it was at $78. Now it's sitting at $160. So it's done extremely well. And you can see Spotify did have a very, very good report. Had a nice day yesterday, pulling back a little bit today. But you can see Spotify up 100% this year. So a lot of stocks that have come up this year after going down last year. Spotify is one of those as well. Good quality companies that I'd be proud to own. I think everyone should want to own these types of companies, but they're all up a lot. And I'd like to see them drop again like they did last year so we can get in again. Here's 3M. They just had a strong report, went up yesterday, but now starting to come back down. You could see 3M actually is down for the year. So definitely one I'd like to own. They did have a strong report, so I think that's good news. So this is the type of company that's actually down, that had a good report, that's been down all year, that I think might be a good buy. So these are the types of companies that I would be interested in buying in this environment when most companies that are the good quality companies have gone up. I think they're a little bit overpriced. I'd wait for them to come down. The good quality companies like 3M that have been down are the ones that I'd be interested in buying right now. So I'm definitely watching 3M, and I think that they're an interesting company that everyone should be looking at. All right, so let's take a look at Apple. I think, when is Apple reporting? Let's take a look, because Apple is dropping. So Apple's another one that I sold this year, did really well on, bought it at let's say 125, sold around 150. It went to 180, 190. It's come back down now and starting to lower. So when are they reporting? Let's see. Apple. Next week. Let's see. The report date is Apple November 2nd. So Apple's reporting next week. So that's going to be very big for the market. We'll be watching that very, very closely. So Apple is starting to drop right now. I think Apple's problem is that they actually have been going up despite the fact that their earnings have been going down. So it's been very difficult for me to want to buy Apple with their earnings going down and the stock going up. That's divergence for me. It didn't make a lot of sense as an investor. So I've been staying away from Apple. But if this can go back under, let's say the 150 zone, I'd be interested in buying just because it's such a quality company that's holding so much cash. And obviously, they're a very innovative company. But I'm at the point now where, as an investor, I want to be very disciplined, very picky. I don't need to rush to buy anything. I'm not desperate. I've done really well this year, sitting on a lot of cash and a lot of assets, dividends that are going to pay me well. So I'll just be patient. So that's kind of my attitude right now. And I'll wait for these stocks to crash again before I buy them. Amazon. It's another one that I sold this year, done really well on Amazon as well, and it's starting to drop. So, I bought it last year right here around $80, sold it this year. I can't remember exactly what price I sold it at, but let's just say 110. So I did well on Amazon. It went higher, obviously, to 140. I could have done even better, but that's okay. I don't really bother myself too much about that because I take that money, I put it into other things that I'm making money on too. So Amazon is one that I think has huge upside. It's also starting to drop from those higher levels because I thought that they were overpriced. A lot of them got overpriced this year. And I think that, now they're starting to drop. So my thing is, I like to see them drop further. Now, a lot of them are doing pretty strong reports. So I don't know if they will drop further, but these are the types of companies I think you want to own in your portfolio. I just think they're a little high right now. I really do. Okay. I just think that they're really, really high. Could they go higher? Absolutely. But could they go lower? Absolutely. So for me, I want to buy a stock when it's on sale. And yes, Amazon's down 6% right now. It's definitely on sale. But maybe it goes lower. And if I could get this at 100 or lower again, that's where I'd like to buy it, right? Because one of my things is if I buy a stock and then I sell it, and then it keeps going higher, I don't want to buy it back higher than what I sold it in the same year. That just doesn't make any sense. And that's essentially what I would be doing if I was to buy Amazon right now, which doesn't make sense. So I'm not going to do that. I'd rather wait for another crash in the market, another reset in the market, another point of panic in the market, which some people would say this is. Amazon's down 5%, Google's down 9%. So big drops, right, in big companies, but I've seen them cheaper. I bought them for cheaper just last year. So maybe they go back down to those levels. That's where I'd be 100% a buyer again. And that's kind of what I'm thinking as an investor. I don't need to chase anything, and I really don't want to chase anything. I want to be patient, and I want to buy good quality companies at the cheapest possible price. That's my attitude. That's my strategy. All right, let's quickly take a look at where Bitcoin is before we say goodbye. We've been live for almost an hour. All right, Bitcoin looking strong, 34,600. So looking very, very bullish. Let's take a look at the last 5 days. So it's really been bullish over the last 5 days. If we look at the last month, you can see it's really been bullish over the last month. So this is really, really bullish price action. And right now what's happening with Bitcoin is it's getting resistance at 35,000. So the last time it was getting resistance was at 30,000. We ripped through after, a little bit of eating through all that selling pressure. We eventually ripped through. Now we're getting selling pressure at 35. It makes sense. Once we finally rip through the 35 selling pressure, we'll probably get selling pressure at 40. That makes sense. People are selling because the stock is up, the crypto's up, people are going to sell it, right? Which makes sense. They're making money. They bought it for lower this year. They're going to sell it. They're going to buy low, sell high. Bitcoin's up over 100%. There's Bitcoin ETFs you could be selling. There's all these other Bitcoin assets and products that are out there in the market, and there's soon to be even more. So you have to be aware of the fact that if it's getting resistance at 35,000, what it's telling you is there's a lot of people selling at 35,000. Nothing wrong with that. Let them sell. If you're a holder like me, then let them sell. Maybe it takes 1 or 2 weeks, but eventually, if those sellers get exhausted, we're going to rip right through 35,000, and then we're going to go higher. We'll go to 36, 37, 38, 40 and above. So very, very exciting time for investing. Very, very exciting time for Bitcoin. And hopefully you have some exposure to Bitcoin. If you do, congratulations. All right, guys, that's what's going on in the markets. I'm your host of the most, your boy Rich from Rich TV Live. We've really been evolving as a platform, and we are now getting more into news. We're getting more into sports. Obviously, we've always been heavily involved in stocks. We've always been heavily involved in crypto. So the Rich TV Live podcast is now evolving more into stocks, crypto, mainly Bitcoin, but all the other cryptos as well. But we love Bitcoin the most, and Ethereum the second most, and then everybody else, right? So stocks, Bitcoin, Ethereum, crypto, news. We're going to be constantly talking about all the biggest news of the day, and especially these wars that are raging that are definitely brutal. And hopefully we can find a resolution sooner rather than later. And hopefully we can find a pathway to peace. People keep asking me to pick a side. Why do I got to pick a side? I'm not Israeli. I'm not Palestinian. Why do I need to pick a side? I'm not going to pick a side. I'm picking the side of peace. I'm not Ukrainian. I'm not Russian. I'm not picking a side there either. I don't want to pick a side. I want to pick the side that is a pathway to peace. I don't want innocent civilians dying. It doesn't make any sense to me. The only people that are winning in times of war are politicians and corporations. People are dying and suffering. It's sad. It breaks my heart. We need to find a pathway to peace. That's the only thing that I'm concerned about. And that's the only side that I'm picking is a pathway to peace. Okay? So I'm not going to pick a side. So don't even ask me to. It's kind of silly and funny when people are like, oh, you're so neutral. You need to pick a side. Why? Why do I got to pick a side? Don't tell me what to do. I won't tell you what to do. And we'll be friends. Okay? Sports, best time of the year for sports. We've got World Series baseball. We've got NFL. NBA season just kicked off. We got NHL. This is as good as it gets. We got soccer happening, football. So everything is happening all at once. Very, very exciting time. Obviously, I'm a Cristiano Ronaldo fan, and he is the greatest footballer of all time. The most goals ever and for his club, and also the most goals ever for his country. You cannot debate that. He is the greatest striker of all time. I know a lot of you love Messi because he won a World Cup, and he's probably going to win another Ballon d'Or this year. Congratulations to Messi. I'm a big fan of his too. But being Portuguese, I will always be a Ronaldo fan first, and his statistics prove that he is the greatest striker ever to play the game because he's got the most goals ever, the most goals for his club, and his most goals for his country. And this is a great time right now for Bitcoin and for Bitcoin investing and for cryptocurrency. So huge fan of Bitcoin, and I'm a holder of Bitcoin, full disclosure. And remember that Rich TV Live and our Rich TV Live podcast is strictly for information and education purposes. Please do your due diligence and do your research before you invest in anything we talk about or discuss here on the Rich TV Live podcast. In saying that, we love to interview CEOs here. We love to bring you trending stocks, companies that are bigger companies, small cap companies, penny stocks. We also like to interview companies that are small cap companies that are super hyper growth companies. If you're a super hyper growth company or a smaller company in Canada, the United States, or a company on the NASDAQ, and you want to get on the Rich TV Live podcast, contact us. We can talk to you about how you could get on our show. We also have shows with guests that we bring on every single week, like Stocks and Stacks and like the Bull and Bear Show, where we've got guests that are coming on. If you'd like to come on our show, contact us. We can talk about how we can get you on the show. We're also in collaboration with other financial news websites where we're doing weekly shows now. So stay tuned. Lots of big things happening here with the Rich TV Live podcast as we continue to grow and evolve. And we want to thank you, the audience. Without you, none of this is possible. All over the world, on all the different platforms, all over social media. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Without you guys, none of this is possible. Thank you for watching the Rich TV Live podcast. I'm your host, Richard D'Souza, saying, have a nice day. Go Bitcoin. Go earnings season. Go stocks. Let's say no to war. Let's put down our weapons and let's look for a pathway to peace. And let's enjoy the sports season. The best sports season ever right now is the end of October, where all the major sports are happening all at the same time. And I'll be here every single day, every step of the way, to break down all the biggest trending news of the day in the world of finance, in the world of crypto, in the world of Bitcoin, in the news world, broadcast news, and in the world of sports. Thank you for watching. If you like these videos, we really appreciate it if you subscribe, smash the like button, comment down below, share the video everywhere, and also go and join our website. It's an ecosystem built by investors for investors. We're also adding sports and news to it as well. So a lot of big things happening. We are really evolving, and we appreciate you guys. None of this would be possible without you guys, the fans at home. We appreciate you and we love you. I'm your host of the most, your boy Rich from Rich TV and the Rich TV Live podcast, saying have a nice day. We'll see you soon. And remember, peace.